Grand Rising, Grand Rising. Hope everybody having a great day. I'm gonna talk to y'all about the shadow work because I always say shadow work, and I know a lot of people uh, don't know what shadow work is. Shadow work is just being able to look at yourself and seeing what you need to work on about yourself for you to be a better person. That's what shadow work is. You look at yourself and you see, okay, what could I stop doing? What can I do more of? It's just about taking a step back and looking at yourself and critiquing yourself and being able to say, okay, I need to change this about myself. I need to correct this about myself. That's what shadow work is. It's not something that happened overnight. Shadow work is something, it's a process. Shadow work is a process. It's just being able to go within and being able to be honest with yourself and being able to say, okay, I don't like this part about myself. I don't like when I do this, or I don't like how I do that. And it's being able to correct those things about yourself, man. And it's an ongoing process. And shadow work is something that you always got to be doing because you always trying to elevate and you always trying to grow. It's kind of, and I'm gonna make an example so y'all can really understand what shadow work is. Okay, say I go get me an old school classic car. I go get an old school classic car, but this old school classic car, it's been ran through the mud. It's beat up. You know what I'm saying? Do the car got potential? Yeah, it got potential, but it's gonna take a lot of work. So you get that old school car, that old school classic, you get it, you take it in to see everything that's wrong with the car. And then over a period of time, you just work on the car. You keep on working on it. Okay, let me get the oil change. Okay, let me get some new tires. Okay, let me change the interior. So that's what shadow work is. And if you do that consistently with that car for 10, 20, 30 years, by the time that 20, 30 years come, now you got a classic car. Now you got a classic car. Everything on the car is new. Everything on the car been remodeled and redone. So you got new everything on the car. That's the same thing as doing shadow work. That's the same thing. So you got to look at yourself as that car when you first got it that needed things that it needed to be worked on. But the car had potential to be a classic. So when you first get that car, that's you at your lower form of yourself. So once you start getting the work done on that car, you working on it, you seeing everything that car need, and you consistently doing that over a period of time. Now 20 years later, you got you a classic car. And that's the same with us. We start off we start off as that car that need a lot of work done to it. But over the years, you doing little things. Okay, let me get this for the car. Okay, let me do this for the car. And then over a period of time, that car is go become a classic because you constantly pouring into that car and you constantly making that car a better version of what it was. That's the same as doing shadow work. You want to keep on working on yourself and working on yourself, and then 20, 30 years down the road of working on yourself, you classic. Now you a classic. Like I'm a classic car because I've been doing the work on myself since day one. You know what I'm saying? So the problem people having is people haven't been doing the shadow work. So that's just like driving that car and the check engine light been coming on and you're still driving it. You having all of these problems with the car and you still driving it. You not taking the car in to get fixed. You not taking the car in to get looked at. You not keeping the maintenance up of that car. So the value of that car is depreciating. But the thing about a car is, if the car gets so bad that you can't drive it, then you can just go get a new car. But you can't go get a new body. You can't go get a new self. So when you going through your life and you not putting yourself in the shop like you do the car, then you putting all of that mileage and all that wear and tear on your body. You putting all that mileage and wear and tear on your body. You're not getting the oil changes. You're not doing none of those things. And like I said, with the car, you could run a car into the ground and you could just go buy a new car and start from scratch. But if you run yourself into the ground, you can't buy a new self and start over from scratch. So when you don't do the shadow work, it's like you just add miles onto your body, you add wear and tear onto your body, and you not fixing the things you need to fix. So a lot of people out here is broken because they didn't put the work in into themselves that they needed to put the work in. So a lot of people broken, but you can't go trade yourself in and get something new. You can't do that. You stuck with who you is, man. You stuck with who you is. That's why it's so important to do the shadow work. The oil change and all of that is just the maintenance of the car. But you got to be doing maintenance on yourself too. You got to be doing maintenance on yourself because you know if you don't get that car check, you just add more and more problems onto that car if you're not constantly taking it to the shop, having them look at this, having them look at that. So by the time if you do that over a 10-year period of time with that car, you're gonna need everything. Now you need brakes. Now you need an oil change. Now you need spark plugs. You need all of these different things when you could have been fixing those things as you go. You could have been saying, okay, let me get the brakes. Okay, let me go get this done. Let me go get this done. The same thing with a person. The same thing with a person. So you don't want to put all that wear and tear on your body and you not going in and you not doing the shadow work and changing because ultimately you gonna end up broken. You're going to end up broken. And unfortunately, when you end up broken, you're going to have to start back over from scratch and you're going to have to rebuild yourself back up from scratch because you let it get too far out of hand. And that's what people are doing today. They're not doing the shadow work because people is overwhelmed by the shadow work. And you should be overwhelmed by the shadow work because you let it build up for so long. You let it build up for so long. If people was addressing the things that they needed to address about themselves 20 years ago, then it'd be easier to keep yourself together, to elevate, to grow. But when you blocking stuff out, you're not dealing with stuff, you're not going within, you projecting and you gaslighting, then you doing yourself a disservice. You're doing yourself a disservice. So now it's like people overwhelmed because now when you say shadow work, it's like they didn't did too much. They didn't did too much because they wasn't keeping the maintenance up on themselves, so they didn't did too much. So now it's like now they got to go back and make up for 20, 30 years of not going within, not working on that car. And you know what I'm saying? And that's exactly what it is. So you always want to be working on yourself all the time to elevate so you could grow to your highest form of yourself. What's the highest form of yourself? That classic car that you've been working on for 20, 30 years that you only bring out on Sunday because it's just too fly. It's just too dope. You can't ride this car to work. You can't ride this car around the neighborhood. You pull this car out on Sunday because you want to flex on Sunday. You pulling your classic out. That's the same as us. That's the same as me. I'm classic because I've been doing the shadow work since day one. So that's basically what it is, man. You want to be doing the maintenance on yourself all the time. You want to be working on yourself because you don't want it to become a point of time where you got all of these things wrong with you that you got to deal with because you haven't been working on yourself, man. So I need y'all to look at it like that. Like just like you keep the maintenance on your car, you got to wash it. You got to take it into the shop. You got to see what's wrong with it. Your lower self is that car when you first got it. It had so much potential, but you got to put the work in. That's your lower self. So when you're trying to elevate to get to the highest form of yourself, go be that classic car that's your pride and joy. That's your baby because you done put so much work into them cars. The same thing about yourself. You got to put all of that work into yourself so you could turn from a car that has potential to be a classic to actually a car that you put the work in that made it a classic. Third Eye in the Sky.